The tragedy of Hamlet, Prince of Denmark, is Shakespeare's longest play, and it is considered to be one of the most powerful and influential tragedies in all of English literature. The play was one of Shakespeare's most popular works during his lifetime. Hamlet has been described as the world's most filmed story after Cinderella. Hamlet is also one of the most analyzed pieces of literature, receiving literary criticism from many writers, including Helen Gardner. Professor Helen Louise Gardner was an English literary critic and academic. She was best known for her work on the poets John Donne and T.S. Eliot. Gardner's early education was at the North London Collegiate School. In 1926, she went to St. Hilda's College, Oxford, and in 1929 obtained a first-class honors degree in English language and literature. She was also granted honorary degrees from Cambridge, London, Harvard, and Yale. Helen Gardner analyzes Hamlet from an historical approach. Gardner examines pieces of the play, the Elizabethan audience, and similar revenge plays, primarily focusing on the questions, what did the audience think of the play, why does Hamlet delay his revenge, and are there other plays in literature similar to Hamlet? Gardner begins by considering how the Elizabethan audience would have responded to Hamlet's plan to seek revenge for his father's death. Gardner's research led her to statements by preachers and moralists who asserted that Elizabethans believed murder was unethical and that private revenge was sinful. However, after further examining Elizabethan principles, she discovered that Elizabethans were law-abiding and God-fearing men, but they swore to take the uttermost revenge on any pretended successor to the throne by prosecuting to the death. The Elizabethan audience would not be appalled by Hamlet's plot, and in fact they were actually able to closely relate to the theme of revenge. Prince Hamlet is the quintessence of a European man who holds that man is ordained to govern the world according to equity and righteousness. Gardner also introduces ideas from critics T.S. Eliot and Samuel Johnson. Gardner disagrees with statements made by writer T.S. Eliot. Eliot states that even though Hamlet has made a considerable mess of things, Hamlet dies fairly well pleased with himself. Gardner feels that Mr. Eliot's belief that Hamlet died fairly well pleased with himself is only logical from a severe moralist. Horatio's farewell to Hamlet
cracks a noble heart. Good night, sweet prince, and flights of angels sing thee to thy rest.
Hamlet and Fortinbrow's comment do not suggest that Hamlet's story is one of personal failure and inadequacy. The play ends with the soldiers' music and the rites of war, and a final volley in salute of a dead hero. Gardner introduces the intriguing idea that Hamlet can be seen as a soldier, because in the secret war which he has waged, he has shown a soldier's virtues. Hamlet shows the virtue of constancy. Nearly 2 months pass by after Hamlet sees the ghost, yet he does not do anything. He stands on guard like a soldier would do at his post. The opening and the close of Hamlet have the same relation to each other. Gardner believes that the play's opening, in which a soldier on guard cannot leave his post until he is relieved, is a metaphor for the soul in this world, which comes easily to Renaissance writers.
Johnson states that Hamlet is, through the whole play, rather an instrument than an agent. After he has, but the stratagem of the play, convicted the king, he makes no attempt to punish him, and his death is at last effected by an incident which Hamlet has no part in producing. Gardner responds by asking, but why in the world did Hamlet not obey the ghost at once, and save 7 of those 8 lives?
Another question posed by Gardner regarding Hamlet's revenge is why doesn't Hamlet kill Claudius when he has his best chance? Hamlet is convinced that his uncle is guilty, yet when he comes across Claudius on his knees, he doesn't kill him. Gardner agrees with Shakespeare's decision to delay Hamlet's revenge because the audience does not really want to see Hamlet stab a defenseless kneeling man. Gardner might have also considered Gertrude's relationship with Claudius as part of her historical approach. She might have examined how the Elizabethan audience would have responded to the marriage. Both Hamlet and the ghost condemn the relationship and marriage between Claudius and Gertrude as incestuous. This was based on the Old Testament book of Leviticus, which stated, "If a man shall take his brother's wife, it is an unclean thing. He hath uncovered his brother's nakedness. They shall be childless." It was interpreted to prohibit relations between the wife and the brother of the husband. It applied even after the death of the husband. Upon marriage, the husband's brother became the brother of the wife, and this relationship survived after the death of the husband. When Claudius says, "Therefore our sometime sister, now our queen, have we taken to wife," he acknowledges that, in effect, he married his sister when he married Gertrude. This doctrine of incest affected the lives of Elizabethans, the throne and religion of England, and changed the course of history. Gardner overlooked this aspect of the play, but it might have strengthened her essay.
One of the main points that Gardner points out in her criticism is that Shakespeare didn't invent the plot of Hamlet. She proceeds to tell us that Shakespeare got the idea for Hamlet from two previous plays, the Spanish tragedy and the Revenger's tragedy. These three plays have a lot in common. In the plays, we see jealousy, the protagonists contemplating suicide, characters who go insane, the ghost of a murdered man who desires revenge, and characters in two plays named Horatio. Hamlet very closely follows the dramatic conventions of revenge in Elizabethan theater. All revenge tragedies originally stemmed from the Greeks, who wrote and performed the first plays. After the Greeks came Seneca, who was very influential to all Elizabethan tragedy writers. Seneca was Roman and basically set all the ideas and rules for all revenge play writers in the Renaissance era, including William Shakespeare. But Hamlet is different from most revenge plays, because usually every character in the play is aware of the murderer.
Helen Gardner examines Hamlet much differently than other critics. She examines historical events, compares Hamlet with other pieces of literature, and poses questions regarding the audience and Shakespeare's motives. The historical approach to Hamlet can lead to many interesting ideas, but Gardner states herself that the value of the historical approach is that it doesn't lead to a final and infallible interpretation.